So, part two. After rewatching the video that I made last semester, I guess my answers haven't really changed that much. There's only one part of my answer really that's different at all. I still definitely am very proud to be an American, and I think studying American history is interesting. And a large part of that is because I live here, and so it's very, I don't know, it's very cool to be able to be like, wow, I live in a country that did that. You know, obviously sometimes it's not cool, and obviously there are a lot of things that happened here that I'm not exactly jazzed about. But definitely a lot of things that were accomplished here. The fact that we were able to gain our independence from such a crazy tyrannical empire is pretty cool. It's pretty cool we were able to pull that off, and it's been like what 250 years, and we're still going strong, still running shit. Sorry. I think that's pretty cool. I also still think that the fact that America is such a young country is a big reason to study American history, and it's very interesting to kind of try and figure out exactly how and why we've been able to come, relatively speaking, so far in such a short amount of time, especially compared to other countries and other nations that have had a much longer time to get to where they are now. Also, I think it's kind of a challenge to study American history because you do have a lot of stuff that's happened in, relatively speaking, a very short amount of time, especially in comparison to other countries. There were definitely a couple things that have changed in the last couple months. I know in my last video check-in for last semester, I mentioned that I thought it was really neat that a lot of people here were open to learning about American history and changing their opinions, and I felt like we were really progressing as a country in that sense. And my answer has kind of changed. I've kind of been black-pilled a little bit, but I'm keeping an open mind and kind of hoping that I can regain some of that faith in us, our ability as American citizens to kind of learn and grow based on our studying of our own history. But one thing that has changed for the better since last semester, I know I said last semester I really would not be interested in studying the history of really any other country or nation, and American history is really the only kind of history that interests me. I have definitely changed my opinion on that front. I would be open to taking a lot of different history classes. There are some history classes that still wouldn't really interest me, but I'd be willing to take. I took actually a Greek class. I took a couple Greek history classes, or Greek classics kind of classes, and found them really interesting. And ended up doing well in them. And I'm also I don't know if I'll be able to. I don't know if I'll be able to do it before I graduate, but I really would like to learn a lot more about Italian history, just because that's where my family's from, and that's something that the more that I learn about it, the more I want to learn. So that has definitely changed. But other than that, as far as my reasons personally for studying American history, that's pretty much the same. I'm definitely, not to sound like I'm just jerking off America, but I'm very impressed by how far we've been able to come in the last couple hundred years. And I'm excited to see where we go in the next 50 years that I'm alive, however long I last. And it'll be really neat to have been part of what is in my opinion a great country for all its faults. Even if I'm just a very, very small part of it, it'll be cool to have been a part of it. And I also do think that it presents an interesting challenge, just because there's so much to pull from and so much to learn and so many different stances you can take on a lot of the things that have happened here. And a lot has happened in such a short amount of time. So I think that presents an interesting challenge when it comes to studying American history, especially given the fact that they give you, 2 classes to teach all of American history, and I feel like you probably could divide it up into a lot of smaller classes and get a lot deeper into detail. But I'm sure that's true of all history classes. So yeah, looking forward to the next 5 weeks. I'm definitely looking a lot. Not that I didn't enjoy the last class, but I'm looking a lot more forward to this class, I think, because I don't know, just in general, this is the period of American history that interests me a lot more. I'm very excited to learn more about recent American history. That's just exciting to me. So, yeah. Sorry, that was a little bit all over the place. I have notes, but as you can see, they're a little bit scattered. So.